Action!
Hey, listen, I like staying humble at times. Anyways, hello there, everybody. This is TheAljavis here, and what? What did I do? What happened? What do you mean? Can you guys... What? You've got man, really? Can I just go on? Can I please go on? Wait a minute, can they literally not hear you?
Apparently not, no.
Oh,
They can
that's
only
why.
hear
I
you,
fixed it.
Al.
I
They can
fixed
only
it.
hear
I
you.
fixed it. I fixed it.
We're good?
Start over.
They're not, no.
Oh,
They can
that's
only...
fine.
Oh, we're good. We're good, right?
Oh, we're-
everybody. Oh, God, we spent 30 minutes
Do
trying
over.
to get this right. We do 24 hours. We do plan these post shows, I promise you. We plan these post shows. Hello, everybody. I'll start that try-up again. My name is Mr. G. And welcome to the post-premiere show for Case 2, Part 3. As you can already tell, something went wrong, and we did try again. I will be your host tonight, along with several other team members, all of whom from different areas of the production, to discuss the good and the bad. I was going to say that most of the good outweighs the bad, but at this rate, I feel like that doesn't apply anymore. Al, please save me from this. Would you mind introducing yourself?
Sure thing. Hello there, everybody. This is TheAljavis here, and I'm the director and creator of EOJ. Yeah, I'm the reason why we go through a bunch of hell in this production. I'm the reason.
Yeah, and as obviously the director, which is your main role, do you want to tell us also some of... I feel like it's a bit unfair to ask this question considering what just happened, but to get everybody to have a bit more of an enjoyment, what's the biggest mistake thus far that you've enjoyed?
The biggest mistake of what?
Of the project thus far. What's been your biggest what's been the biggest mistake thus far that you've enjoyed? Just to continue with the introduction a bit more.
Me being the director. That's my mistake.
Oh, we love you, Al. I mean, it's not as if the post shows are, planned for a week in advance and we get everything sorted for them.
Oh no, it's just that because I'm handling it, it goes wrong.
No. Don't worry, Al. I am the host. I'll take blame on this one. Moving on.
I am the director.
Moving on. Our next guest is the ever wonderful Soundman. Soundman, would you like to introduce yourself?
No. I'm kidding.
Please.
I'm the snot man. I do the snotting. My role?
Yep, your role.
Well-
that would be helpful.
All right. Well, recently we expanded to talking with the VAs, and I love that. We didn't used to do that.
Oh.
So we organize the VAs, we talk with them, we splice their lines, we make sure everything sounds good. My biggest mistake thus far, as in recent history.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude, scene 3 of 2-3 sounds like trash, and no one noticed, and it had to do with rushing it because it was the last scene that was mastered. All the compression is wrong.
Oh no. Oh no, you just
yeah.
admitted you're failing as well, Soundman. We're all going to go back and listen to it.
You
now.
asked me what my biggest mistake was, so yes, I'm going to admit my failure. And my favorite my favorite Pat moment. I have to opt out of this question because my favorite Pat moment upsets Pat when I talk about it. So
Okay. That's a fair position to be in. That's a fair position. Joining us as well, we've also got the ever wonderful SilverFeathers, aka Shannon.
Oh, so I am very disappointed with how this opened. But hey guys! It's SilverFeathers, also known as Shannon. So you know me as the voice of Scootaloo, and very recently I became the head background artist for the team!
Ooh!
Oh, and I also help out MD with rigs, as well as do some of the backgrounds. I also help out with other stuff. Yeah.
Yes, you tend to be
Like
quite all over the place, don't you, Shannon? If it isn't one area of production, it will always be another area of production. You might as well say that we should, I don't know, all hail Shannon?
No!
All hail Shannon.
all hail Shannon.
All hail
Gosh, dang
Shannon.
it.
Well, I'm glad to have you on the show, Shannon. We've got lots to talk about, especially when it comes to the background artists. So looking forward to hearing what you have to say. Up next, we've got one of our, well, I would say, long-time esteemed members, but also another friend of well, how do I put this politely? You know,
how do you put this politely?
How do I put it politely? Let's just I'll let the man introduce himself. Jarvy, would you like to introduce yourself and your role? Let's just say.
Sure, I would love to. Hi, everyone. My name is Jarvy Jared. I'm one of the writers, editors, and musicians for Elements of Justice. I am the composer for Turning Pages theme, Private Eyes theme, Luna's Entrance to Court theme, and then the track called Trick Reasoning. I believe that more or less encompassed my role. Oh, I was also one of the writers who wrote Sakura.
As I say,
that was a lot of fun.
As I say, a friend to overworked team members everywhere. And do you have a favourite mistake that's happened thus far? Favourite error someone's pulled out that you'd like to share?
I would allude to a general mistake of communication overall. Okay. In terms of specifics, I would just say it's not even really a mistake, but just rhyming Sakura was... it was an interesting experience. I suppose that counts as a mistake.
Your decision to become a writer, to write for Sakura, was a mistake. It's okay,
Sure.
Jarvy.
We'll
Don't worry. We forgive you for your mistakes.
Thank you.
And finally,
I appreciate it.
It's glad to have you here. And finally, on top of that, we also have a special guest, most recent of the main VAs to join us. You will have heard her in the last episode. I'll let her do the introduction for her role. But Goddess, if you please like to introduce yourself. You'll also need to make sure you unmute yourself as well. That would be helpful.
It's trying.
Hey.
Oh no!
We got it.
Goddess.
Okay.
Go for it. Go and introduce yourself.
Okay. Hello, I am Goddess Level 1, and I can say who I play, right?
Yep, you can say it.
Yeah,
Go on.
say who
Okay,
you play.
Go.
Okay. I am Prosecutor Loon.
Unfortunately, I think we may have experienced some technical difficulties.
Oh, come on.
Give that another.
Oh my god, this is what I get.
Goddess.
Okay, well, let's see. All right, well, I am Goddess Level 1, and I play Princess Luna, aka Prosecutor Luna.
Yeah.
Prosecutor Luna. So here we are. Yes, everybody, welcome our new VA for Luna. Goddess, it's great to have you here. We're going to have a lot to talk about, especially when it comes to Luna. So I'm sure you're going to have a lot to say about your experience voicing them. So we're going to get started. The introductions finally out of the way, because I have to admit, for a moment there, I was worried we would never get started. So, first question is going to be about the production. So, this one's going to be opened up to Soundman, first of all. So, Soundman, as we've established, and I think it's no secret to a lot of people, but 2-3 was quite an intense production, wouldn't you say?
It was? Oh,
It was?
I did it in my sleep, you know. I don't remember it because it was just so easy.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell us
It's
more
like
about
a dream.
this.
All right.
Describe the stream of ours in vivid detail.
Oh, in vivid detail. Well, let me talk all about myself for a good 7 minutes. Okay. So immediately off the high of case 1, like we finished that and we were like, we actually got one. Holy shit. So like we said we were going to take a break, and immediately the next day I was doing like conceptual graphic work, for case 2, because Gion was still off the team at this point. So like the new cross-examination graphic, like I did a really rough version of that. I did a rough version of the mood matrix, and then obviously the 3D models, which extended from like March to July. So like there was a whole lot of time where we were just like working on stuff loosely in preparation for 2.3, even during working on 2.1 and 2.2. And then, you know, actual production was yeah, it was August. On the VA side of things, it was actually the best one so far. Like, you could attest to this because you work with me on the same department. People were getting their stuff in quick. They're getting it in efficiently. I was really happy because normally, like, we have to wait 3 months for someone. But no, everything got in pretty clean, and I was really happy with it. If and if every episode after this was like that, I would be really happy. So that went well. Video editing was rough. Big episode, lots of mistakes, lots of polish, lots of frustration. Overall, I would give it a B- for production.
That's
a B-. It can be, yeah.
It's a passing mark. I mean, that's a great starting point. You know, as you say, room for improvement, and you covered quite a few highs and lows there, which I'm sure some other team members will specify too. But you're right. Yeah, it was great working with the VAs. And speaking of more sort of before that, though, we obviously had elements related to the pre-production. And Jarvy, I'd like to go to you for this one. Sure. How did you feel about the sort of production for 2.3? Because it was definitely an experience in the pre-production area as well.
That is a good word for it. In the end, it basically was a transformative experience in that a lot of the writers ended up having to take on more responsibilities than they originally had. But it did offer a unique challenge where some of the lingering issues of communication, idea sharing, and the like that had been propping up since the very beginning of, I guess, me joining the team as a writer, they kind of exploded in our faces in 2.3, and we were scrambling to find ways to manage that kind of problem. Obviously, I can't go into specifics because that would essentially be spoiling a lot of the process and a lot of the ideas that we actually ended up discussing. But what is essential to, I think, people understanding how much of a clusterfuck, for lack of a better term, 2.3 pre-production was. The script was delayed by almost an entire month when it should have been finished a month before that, obviously. And we managed to do that, of course, and I think it turned out, fairly good, but it still demonstrated that there were many hiccups and challenges to overcome, and we are still kind of feeling the ramifications of those effects, and we're still trying to learn from them as best we can.
Yes, absolutely. But you would say that overall, it's a great learning experience, and carrying forward, we think that it's only going to, hopefully, all these little kinks here and there are going to be ironed out, and we're going to be moving forward with the best possible structure. Don't you say? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think the way that this process is, it's reflective of essentially our own kind of where we are as writers on the team, because we've been on the team now for almost, I want to say 2.5 years at this point.
On the days.
Case 1 was essentially, the beginning. It was new for everyone, basically. Like, I don't know for any other writers, but I could say that I've never worked on a team such as this before. Case 2, I think, is where you have to take what you learned from Case 1, or we have to take what we learned from Case 1 in terms of just writing it, and see where there are holes and gaps, and learn how to fill in those holes and gaps, and where to improve the overall writing. And also just work better and achieve a better synergy between the production staff members and all that.
Exactly. Well, there's some very thoughtful statements there, Jarvy, and as I say, it's nice that we can look back on this episode with a sense of, yeah, we had our work cut out. Well, at least in the pre-production, you guys had your work cut out and you're moving forward. And now I want to move to another area of the production. I want to go to you, Shannon, because you obviously have, as you mentioned in your introduction, quite a lot of areas to cover in many respects. So you got to, sort of have an eye on literally nearly everything one way or another. But you have also the experience of being a voice actor, as well as doing the background artist and also some of the rigging. And oh my God, as always, all hail Shannon. So please do tell, what was your experience of 2-3 and how would you describe it?
Oh, man. Well, to start off with, I handled one of the more important assets of the episode, which was that panoramic background.
Ooh. Very nice. Do tell a bit more about that. Do tell a bit more. How was that?
Well, it was an honor to do that because I watched Turnabout Storm when it was still being aired, and I'm just... and so the responsibility of making that background is like, oh, I gotta get this right. Not to mention, I had to update it as well. It's just yeah, but it was.
Shannon?
So,
Shannon?
hello?
Oh, sorry,
can
I
you
seem
hear
to have lost you there, Shannon.
Go on.
Yeah, Discord couldn't handle your talent for too long, so it had to give up. Go on, please. Do try
okay. Okay, so to make it brief, I was honored, but I was also like under a lot of pressure. Like, oh my gosh, there's so many details I have to include. I gotta make sure to update it. Not to mention,
that speaks to me.
Not to mention the gallery view was not yet done, so it's like I had to work from near nothing.
Oh no!
Just references. And yeah, it was a lot of work, and I had to take a break from that because, like, yikes. And then I was tasked to do Zecora because, well, let's just say the other riggers had a lot on their plate, and I had to make her from a pony base because, lo and behold, there is no rig of Zecora on the internet that actually can talk.
What? You're joking. So
I looked this up, and the only one that someone managed to supply for me, yes, it was a full turnaround, but there's no talking animation.
Dear
So
God.
I basically had to make her from a pony base.
So what you're telling us, Shannon, is that you were the one who designed Zecora, in effect. The only reason that Zecora exists in its current form at the moment is partly thanks to you, at least, on that regard.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. And then there was the poses. I didn't do the transition animations. That's Pretty Pegasus Wings. Thank you so much for covering.
Yes, shout out to Pretty Pegasus Wings as well. One of the other team managers, as well as amazing voice actress for our said Zecora as well. So talk about getting to know your own character when you're drawing your own transitional poses. But
yeah,
you can at least say, Shannon, you've brought something to the community now with the Zecora pose. You've left your mark. There's no longer going to be a need to find Zecora pose. You've made it.
Yes. Yeah, and I also made an additional background for the panorama that was based on the panorama. It's the zoom in background for the witnesses, like when you're zooming in and the witness testimony logo flies in. I was like, oh wait, this panoramic view, it's not going to include the bottom floor. Oh great, I'm going to have to make another background. So yeah.
And well, as you've been saying, you've definitely contributed a hell of a lot, and again, well done for all the effort. But well done to everyone here as well. It's a team effort. So, but again, special notice for all the hard work put in all those areas of production, Shannon. Well done again. Well done. We're gonna now also talk quickly, Al. I want to get to you because as director, you've obviously. Project 2-3 is finally done. Directorship, you finally got it out there. What would you say has been your high point for 2-3, Al? What would you say has been the sort of moment that you're going to look back on in this production phase with pride?
Actually getting the 2-3 script done.
Really?
Oh, it was painful.
Yeah.
And Jarvy should know too. It was painful. And then I had to step in a lot of things with this episode. Like for instance, I had to work on the entire like courtroom like overshot, like and I hated working on it. I mean, I loved how it looks now, but making it just like, oh my god, like this doesn't look right, that doesn't look right. I had to make sure that it keeps the spirit of the original Turnabout Storm background, because that's what it was. The background of that entire shot was based off of Turnabout Storm's courtroom, and I wanted to keep it's basically like a dual Destiny-ified Turnabout Storm background. And another thing that I had to do, besides the stills and the evidence, I have to help edit again. And I'm like, oh god. And we already were incorporating so much new stuff that we didn't do before, so I had to relearn how to edit in some aspects. I killed it, by the way.
Yes.
I totally killed the editing.
Wait,
but that's not to say that it wasn't painful. Because like rendering was also a pain too, because of swivel. But
so
for the most part,
you actually killed editing now. Is that what you're saying? You physically murdered the editing?
I dominated it. Like I like the once I got the groove, like I was in. Like I was able to finish like scenes like in record time before any of the other editors could. Granted, they had a lot more on their plate concerning they're the editors. Like that's their main thing. I was just the guy that has to help out in some other stuff. And like the swipes, like if any of you guys saw in the episode the swipes from like from witness to the defense, or the defense to the prosecution to the witness, like the swipes that we did, like a lot of the like all the editors had a hard time, including me, but I was the first one to like master it. I mean, I know that's tooting my own horn, but like I'm just so proud of myself getting it down so fast and so efficiently too. But having to like handle a lot of stuff, it really did take a toll on me. Like I have to be honest, like that's probably the first match she had was not having fun. But when it came down to it, I remembered why I was doing this, and the fun came back, and 2-3 is out, and I'm super happy that it is.
Yes, that's the attitude we want now. That's our director right there. And we're just going to go to you quickly, Goddess, because obviously I feel like the most appropriate thing to say is that the best production high for you was actually, finally having the hard work showed out. Would you say?
Yeah, absolutely, I agree.
How does it feel? How does it feel to finally have? And I mean, I worked with you personally, obviously, when it came to recording your lines. But how did it feel as the voice actress for Luna to finally hear yourself out in an episode?
Oh man, it was like surreal. Actually, at first it was like a little cringe because I was like, "Oh my god, my voice!" And then actually there were some moments where like, "Oh, I think I killed it on that one."
Yes.
So it was. In the beginning, it was surreal, but then I was like, okay, that's actually cool. I'm like, oh yeah, I nailed it on that one. It was, I get my satisfaction into seeing like, I guess, quote, my audience or whatever I'm showing to, like, listen to it and guys give me compliments on it. Like I had a roommate of mine and say not recognize my own voice, and they hear me every day, and I looked at him and I'm like, how in the world could you not guess that's me?
Yes, I can imagine for a lot of people that you showed the episode to, as you say, it was a surreal experience to try and finally to realize that you're going to be voicing a major character in that way. And
yes.
Are you excited for where Luna's going to go?
I am very excited. Also, a little note: I am a big old Princess Luna fan. She is my princess, and the fact that getting to voice her is, oh man, if I had the space and everything, I'd be like, I'm still like squeeing on the inside.
See, this is the positivity, right, guys? Everybody here who, works on this project, and this is just for everybody before we go to the next point. I feel like we could all agree here that we love working on this project, though sometimes, of course, it does suck the life out of us. But regardless, when the moments are good,
Yes.
the moments are good.
Absolutely. I absolutely just love the story. I want to say a special kudos to the writers of this story. Like when I first got the script, I actually read it all first and everything, and I just got so into the story that was being told, and same for the next episode too. So, but yeah, just crafting an amazing story with all these established characters.
It is great. And speaking of actually writing again, but coming back to you, Jarvy, tying in quickly to everything, you definitely had a big contribution to some of Luna's character, not just in the writing, I'd imagine, but also in another way, which you'd like to probably bring up as well.
In making her theme, her entrance to the court theme.
Yes.
This is kind of something that Shannon brought up earlier. There's this sense of almost the anxiety of the influence of Turnabout Storm, but then also the anxiety of having to contribute something massive in terms of reputation and wanting so desperately for it to pay off. And for me, that was composing Luna's court entrance theme, which we have called in the episode Dark Mare of the Courtroom. And not to, I guess, toot my own horn essentially, but that theme is probably it's my favorite theme that I have composed so far for the entire series. And it's probably going to be that way for a good while, to be honest, because it plays around a lot with just, some of the stuff that I'd already learned in the year or so that I spent trying to come up with music for the series since I started making music in January. And you can kind of hear, I'd like to argue that kind of improvement, that kind of dedication to the craft of music making, in spite of, or perhaps in light of, my own inexperience with music making. And, we wanted, from the very beginning, I knew that we were going to have Luna be the prosecutor. Like, I was already aware of that theme. I didn't know that we were going to need, another musician to make a Luna theme. But when I signed up to be a musician, that was like the second job that I had, aside from making Turning Page and Private Eye. So obviously there was a pressure of, I have to make this character have a theme, but more than that, I have to make this character have the theme that announces that this is going to be our prosecutor. This is the main antagonist of this case. So there was that pressure, and me being inexperienced, that basically meant that, I had to learn from scratch and build up all the way to the point of composing a theme that sounds like Luna. And that was a terrible kind of sense of anxiety for me, because again, inexperience and all that. But at the same time, I'm really proud of the theme because for some reason or whatever, I kind of knew exactly how to make it. It was almost like I was composing it from memory as opposed to composing it retroactively. It was like I'd heard it once, and then I knew exactly how many movements I need, where I wanted the song to go, and where it needed to end up. So it just ended up working out in a really, beautiful way. I mean, I listened to it on the occasion. I really like how the chorus came out. I really like how the harpsichord plays with the violin. I love the bass flute that happens in the middle. That's Luna's motif right there. And then I really love how I ended up working in Van Zeke's motif at the very end, kind of announcing that, Luna's super ethereal and all that. But also she's the antagonist for, these episodes. So I feel like, in terms of production high, in terms of selling Luna as a prosecutor, the writing of Luna takes second place for the composing of music for Luna, at least for me. And I believe, based on the reaction to the episodes, a lot of people liked what I ended up doing, and that makes me feel really happy with what I did.
So you're confirming that you're going to move away from being a writer to a full-time musician then? Is this your retirement speech, is it, Jarvy?
I'm saying that I believe in multiplicity. I believe in complexity of people. I don't believe people are regulated to one-dimensional talents and things that they do. I'd like to keep writing. It's what I do. I mean, it's what I love to do. And I'd also like to keep composing music. It's something new that I love to do.
Look at that. Isn't that a lovely, wonderful thing to hear, everybody? That, EOJ has brought out a wonderful talent in Jarvy. Though, hopefully you don't spend too long listening to Luna's theme and forget to write the rest of the 2-4 script.
We still need to release those soundtracks.
Oh, yes, that's also another point. Keep an eye out for possibly a soundtrack OST.
Possibly, yeah.
Possibly, yes. God knows if we'll be able to even release that properly, considering how well our audio gets started on these post shows and pre-shows. Let's move on. So, one thing that's been kind of hinted at a little bit in some of our announcements is obviously a change up in how we've run the team. Al, I'd like to go to you for this, because obviously this is a quite a top-down process. And obviously we've mentioned it sort of subtly. There's a couple of us here who've now taken on positions as managers of XYZ. But first things first, how do you feel about how things have changed? Do you feel like as a team it's going to bring things forward? And do you want to mention sort of anything in particular that you're really proud that this is going to achieve?
Well, the switch up between management was definitely a thing, because we noticed that there were a lot of fundamental issues with the team itself, and in terms of like managerial wise or organization, communication, and I just figured, of course, not just me, it's a bunch of other people in the team that figured this is a problem. So we were just like, yeah, let's do it. Let's change things up and hopefully things will be better. And that's why instead of just me and 2 managers of everything, now it's me and 5 managers in charge of other things. For example, Soundman, he is a manager now in charge of the production,
Great
everything
manager.
that goes on production. And also we also thought about having team leaders, kind of like a third tier of managing. So you have me for the total god of everything. The managers, which are kind of like the second hands, and there's a third tier, which are the team leaders, and Shannon is actually one of those team leaders in charge of the background artists. Everyone's gargling.
Keep going out. We're professionals, remember. We're professionals.
We had to deal with a lot of stuff, a lot of changes to get things up and going. But I am proud of where we're at right now, because if we stayed the way we are, we would still be working on 2-3 until the end of the year, probably.
So it's definitely been one of those things which we may have lost a limb, maybe both our eyes, maybe an ear or two, but we're alive and we're kicking and things are going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Soundman, I'm going to throw this over to you now, because obviously you were just mentioned as one of the new managers for production, and your introduction to that statement as well was a great indication of the professionalism showed. How would you describe the step up to becoming a manager in the production sphere? How do you feel? How are you going to take things forward? How are you going to make this project the best it can be?
Well, to be honest, behind the scenes, I was already yelling at people to make changes that would increase efficiency and a lot of other quality of life things. Not a whole lot has changed in that regard. And I would like to say that being a manager, you get more authority, and maybe people listen to you and get their stuff in more timely, but that's not the case. It's a volunteer project and people are busy, and your authority doesn't really change their scheduling.
This is true.
Not a whole lot of change on my part, honestly.
And there's still the beautiful case of 1 minute pauses in Luna lines that as a manager you had the joys of dealing with.
That was not a manager job, man. That was a my shitty assistant messed up.
Yes, I it's a shame when you can't rely on good labor to ensure.
Yeah.
When the scripts say what they are. I mean, when the scripts say what they are, you know, it's not.
Wait. Now you're putting us down.
Now this is going to go into an all-out brawl, and people are going to get in on this. Okay. So many pauses were cut out in editing because this jokester left so many pauses in when he was directing Goddess.
As a guy who was editing
shame.
these scenes, it hurt a lot.
It hurts a lot. No.
It's stated multiple times of the amount of commas that were there, okay? And I will take those commas.
She has 500 lines in 2-3, like literally 500. And you're having like 2-second silences, 5 seconds of silence before the line. That's like tens of minutes for the editors to be cutting out and moving around and resyncing. It was CBT. Literally every editor was on you and mad at you. And then we had to master, and you were getting mad at yourself, and I was getting mad at you. Everyone was mad at you, man. It was great.
All I'm saying is the script said what the script said, and that will be my defense until the end of time. And you know, I have the voice actress here, Goddess. Will you back me up and say that, in all fairness, it was better than we did?
I can back that up.
Yes.
I can also back that up, but I can also take blame because I thought I was helping by having a few seconds of silence before my lines. So
don't blame you. You're fine.
I apologize if that didn't help. You know.
It's a learning experience. We're trying to avoid those kinds of things in the script itself too.
Yeah.
Right. But in the future, don't put so much silence in between lines. I thought I was like giving some space in between, you know, saying lines and such.
You're completely okay. It's fine. Whether you voice it or you don't voice it like that, it doesn't matter, because what Mr. G should have done was trim it to be acceptable, regardless of how it was performed. That's our job.
Got it.
Don't worry about that. You're fine.
Yeah, you're fine.
And I will also say, if I don't see another comma again, it'll be too loud.
Listen, Luna is super formal. She loves the Oxford comma. I can confirm this. She would.
That's Luna's only flaw. That's Luna's only one flaw. She loves her some Oxford commas.
She loves some big dramatic. She loves the build up of momentum when you have all those commas together. Like this.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. But also the challenge was also like kind of slowing down and making her sound as distinguished as possible. And while G knows this, and I've said this about a zillion times, and you will probably hear a zillion more, I'm no Tabitha St. Germain. But the best thing I can do is make Luna sound as distinctive and eloquent as possible.
Yes. Yes, and you did a fantastic job, I will say. And
thank you.
It you know, there was a lot of praise given to the lines, and I think we can all agree here, you know, for sort of, you know, take on that of quite a difficult character to voice. It was a splendid job. Well done. So well done, Goddess. Well done.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well,
like the steak.
We're going to move on. We're going to quickly now move on to the actual episode release. So we talked about the production. We talked about how these sort of, you know, interesting changes in everything. And this is a question open to everyone. So I'm expecting my eardrums to be completely assaulted by everyone just saying how they felt. But first main question. When the episode finally released, what was everybody's first thought? You know, I'll actually go to Shannon first. Shannon, what did you first think when the episode was finally released? When that premiere went up?
First thought was, oh, this looks so good. And then, oh my gosh, the gallery scene looks amazing. And then Zakora came on, and I'm just like, yee, my baby.
Ah, that's great. Then what about you know, how about the fan reaction? Because obviously, you know, we do watch everybody's statements when they're typing in. We had about 1,200 at the peak, which was, you know, really great. Again, massive turnout,
especially for a Thursday night.
Yeah, exactly. That's one thing we forget about. It's a Thursday we released it on. God, everybody's committed to EOJ even on a Thursday. So thank you for that, guys. But yeah, what about seeing all the fans' reactions? How did you feel about sort of watching it as everybody was commenting on all the different aspects?
I was happy that they were overjoyed at seeing Luna and Zakora on screen.
It's definitely
I was
was
a
a
little
big moment.
confused why everyone was trying to pin it on Zakora, like, in terms of being the prosecutor. Like,
It's the thumbnail.
why?
Jesus Christ, no, I will not write a fucking zebra priming prosecutor ever. It was bad enough that she was a witness. It was bad enough that she was a witness.
Zakora is sus.
And besides, wouldn't she normally be taken in for questioning? Because, you know, the crime happened in the Everfree Forest. She lives in the Everfree Forest. Who knows? Maybe she heard of something. Apparently she did.
Apparently, though, you know what happened. We've yet to really go into. So who knows? Who knows? But yeah, that's great to hear. Let's go, Jarvy. You obviously have a lot of attachment to a lot of things in this episode. Of as you've mentioned before, you know, your music piece especially, and also the writing for the characters. You know, there's a couple of things as well that were mentioned, which we'll go on to later. That I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on. But most and first, what did you feel like? How did you feel with everything that was going into this episode? And it finally happened. What was that euphoric moment? How did it feel? Did it even happen?
Well, I will say, based on how tough 2-3 was in producing, honestly, my expectations were a little low. I didn't quite have that kind of energetic nervousness that I would have had for like 2-1 and 2-2. Because at that point I was kind of, I guess I was, I was emotionally tired. I couldn't really get excited over it because I was just frustrated with how things went. And even though I was happy that we managed to get through it, that kind of dread made it hard to essentially be excited for this being released. That said, I was still eager. I was listening to see how people reacted to not only the writing, but obviously the music, of course. Luna's theme, I already said, it was my favorite theme to compose so far, but it was also the one that I felt like I put so much stakes into. To the point where when it started playing, I was really worried that people would hate it, essentially, or that they wouldn't understand or hear the motifs, so they wouldn't really get what I was trying to go for it. But it was a really fulfilling and deeply relieving moment when in the live chat of the stream, when Luna appears, everyone freaked out. When Luna's theme starts playing, everyone freaked out. And then I had people saying, this sounds like it's from the Great Ace Attorney. And I was like, I made it, guys. I'm a musician.
You have been, you've been justified. You have finally been validated. You are a musician.
I'm finally a musician. I can say, hey, even though I am an amateur and I still have totally a whole lot to learn, at the very least, I've proven, at least to myself, which is, the most vital thing here, that I can make music. It can sound good. It can sound professional. And that really made up for everything, honestly.
And again, it's a great theme. And Goddess, if you want to quickly comment on how you felt about that being your theme.
I absolutely just adored the theme. It was just so beautiful. It was so beautiful. And I closed my eyes when I first heard the theme, and I was like, I could picture Luna right there. The whole, everything just, like, it was like, how do you say this is Princess Luna without saying this is Princess Luna? So when I heard the music, I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what Luna sounds like. I could picture her like just standing there and just doing anything. I could just picture her there.
It was, and I mean, both you and I were messaging each other at the time of the episode release, just squealing when your character came on.
Oh my god! I when I was showing it, I was actually showing the premiere, showing it to my mother recently, and she's like, "Where's your character? Where's your character?" And I was like, hold on a minute, she's coming. And then oh my gosh, when the Hold It comes in, oh my gosh. And then I had to, at first I was like, everybody was talking, then I had to yell out, shut up everybody. And then I heard the Hold It, and then when she comes on, oh my gosh. The squeeing had been doubled. And I was like, that's me, oh my gosh!
It was tremendous. It was tremendous.
It was so tremendous. And then my mom's like, "Oh, you're a unicorn." I'm like, "Unicorn! Get it right! Unicorn! There's a difference!"
Well, as I say, it's tremendous. It's Jarvy, I'm sure, is humbled by that. Sensation of
I'm
feeling more validation.
You can't see, but I'm grinning right now. I'm really happy.
There is thunderous applause. There's thunderous applause in the background, and I dedicate it to you.
Oh, there you go, Jarvy. Validation, if you ever wanted it.
Thank you.
Remember, and I'm a goddess, so what I say goes.
Damn.
It's true. It's true.
Kidding.
Well,
Don't worry, guys. There's gonna be more music.
Well, that's
not really a spoiler because there's obviously going to be more music, but there's going to be more music.
Jarvy, you're spoiling. Oh, Jarvy, how could you spoil Jarvy?
Sorry,
I am disappointed in you.
I hate.
This is not great.
How dare you?
Right. So, having something like that happen, Jarvy, and spoiling the next, what's going to happen. We'll now move on to the next topic in today's discussion, which actually, you know what, Jarvy, you're going to have to validate yourself a bit more. So you're going to have to explain yourself a little bit more, I'd say. Now, you're also on trial a little bit because it's not unfair to say that some characters were interesting in this episode, according to some people. And I'm sure you both have something you'd like to say in regards to this. So I think, first of all, we'll go with some comments that have been made regarding the judge, which I'm sure some people have felt that the judge was quite harsh in this episode. And I'll be interested to hear what both of you have to say in response to that, because I'm sure a lot of people, and myself to an extent included, we're quite interested to see the judge finally sort of being capable or competent, whereas usually quite a bit of a jokey character sometimes. So would you like to sort of expand on the reasoning behind why the judge suddenly decided to become, a judge?
Al, you want to start with that? Or would you prefer that I do it?
Well, honestly, my reasoning is because the script was too long. Because we wanted to be like, hey, we wanted the judge to be like, move on, because the script was just way too long. That's my reasoning, at least.
Is there another sort of any character behind it, or as you just say, it was just one of those situations where the judge needed to act like a judge? Jarvy, any add-on you want to add there?
I mean, my understanding, and which is to say, my argument for why the judge acts in this way is this trial is not his usual run-of-the-mill. I mean, there are kids' lives on the line. He wants to make sure that both the prosecution and the defense know what they're doing, because more than, defending these kids, they have to be able to do it without messing up and basically getting fouled because of a technicality or just an error in judgment. He has to be stern because in him being essentially the manifestation of the law has to be stern in order for it to function. So when Athena takes on, this case, she should essentially, be wary, essentially, and, conduct herself in a way that will not incur the ire of the court. So when Athena inevitably accuses Zikora and essentially royally screws up, I mean, the judge has every right to be upset and stern with her because she messed up. But more than that, she messed up in a way that could have been avoided had she had, a little more consideration. But I would also agree with Al in that we wanted to helpfully lessen the length of the script because it was already very long. So having the judge essentially be the conduit for which motion occurs in the script, that's a very easy solution to a problem that we've been having. Although I do reflect and I do acknowledge that there is some validity in the idea that he was a bit too strict. There's an argument that could go both ways in that he was a little more stern with Athena at first than he was with Prosecutor Luna. However, when Prosecutor Luna, I can't talk. When Prosecutor Luna starts, flipping out and she does the whole be still, which is really fucking awesome, by the way. The judge is basically saying, you have to stop that. Like, I will not take you debasing the defense in my courtroom, even though she calls the defense Golden Pixie or whatever. So I would say that in the beginning, there's a lot more pressure on Athena from the judge's part, because he needs to know that she's up to the task of what she is setting herself out to do. And up to that point, she wasn't. When Luna has that kind of turn, the judge kind of evens out and starts being a bit more fair to both sides, because there's this kind of understanding that, okay, the defense is trying their best. They're not really that great at this, but, you know, I have to call order into the courtroom at that sense. So I understand the perception of the judge as being a little too strict. However, I would argue that the context behind the case, the context behind the characters, the context behind basically the entire conflict, it determines a judge who will be a little more strict with his procedures, because he has to be. Otherwise, we are not going to find the truth, as it were.
Yes. And interestingly enough, you mentioned this. We're going to quickly move on to another character that also had an interesting time in this recent episode, which would be Athena as well. Athena has been sort of accused as being rather incompetent by some people. Now, I'd like to hear what you'd have to say in response to that as well.
This criticism.
Yes, this criticism.
Al, do you want to start, or do you want me to say stuff?
Well, the thing about Athena is that you got to remember, like, she only has one case on her belt, but she needed a lot of help. Like, we literally said that. She literally said that at the end of 2-2. And it shows that she is still very much a newbie. And also it helps tie with Spirit of Justice, with how she acted in that other case that I absolutely hated. But yeah, like, it's meant to show growth, but at the same time, it's to show that she's still very new at this. So writing her to be competent but not competent at the same time was very hard. So that
makes sense.
That was our way of, like, putting it with Athena.
And Jarvy, do you want to add something briefly on as well, or any additional stuff there?
We have to remind ourselves that when people interpret Athena in a certain way, they're really interpreting their perception of her in the games. And because she is a video game character through which a player conducts themselves, they are really judging their beginning stages with the game's later stage of that character. So in the beginning, you obviously are a greenhorn, but by the end of the game, you hopefully have changed, experienced, you have grown, thus, so has your character. But for an audio-visual drama production where there are no active participants but the characters themselves, you can't make the claim that because Athena has XYZ quantity number of cases done because of, I played this game or whatever with her as my character, you can't make that claim and say that the way that we write her is necessarily incompetent. We're trying to write her in a human way, given what we know based on dual destinies, and, I guess technically what we would know later with Spirits of Justice. She's new, as Al said, so we can't expect her to be like Phoenix. It would be irrevocably character assassination at that point. We'd be saying that she has the same skill as the player who plays her in the games, but she doesn't. If we're going to render this character in a realistic way, we have to make her be realistically flawed. And you can't do that if you assume that she is competent because the player is competent. Based on what we know about her and how you end up writing her, she is going to make that kind of a mistake. Because that's who she is. She is skilled, but also rash and impulsive. And she's naive, and she's unsure of herself. She's human.
That makes sense.
She makes human mistakes.
I mean, we are human, except when we're zeros and ones in a fan project. Well, thank you very much for that insight. I'm sure a lot of people will definitely have been needing to hear that. So, anyone who's still got questions related to the judge or Athena, I suppose the best answer to is keep watching the series and you'll find out more about, you'll probably come to love how it's going. Speaking of other things that we love, there's been a lot of changes as well to the assets of this series. And I think there's one I'd like to think that we'd all, are quite happy to see a change to, which I was going to actually go to you with Soundman, and then any other additional changes as well. Shannon can also bring up, but something looks a little bit cleaner, wouldn't you say, Soundman? Something looks a little bit less.
It's the rigs. It was the great reordering. Really cleaned up the visual aspect of the series.
Heck yeah.
Those MLP rigs look so much better.
Those do. But
Sure, it's the MLP rigs, not the humans? Because I think they look a little sharper.
Yeah, they do. They look
Sharper?
almost 720p, you would say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of sad that they're only 720 when our series is 1080, but you got to bite the dust.
We do have to bite the dust. We do have to. Do you want to tell us more about this dust that we have to bite, though, Soundman, and the process of making us bite said dust?
Okay. To what degree of detail do you want the story, and do you want the story to start at the beginning? Because I'll go back to Genesis for you.
I mean, let's just assume that everybody understands a little bit enough about the fact that something looks better than it did beforehand, and go from there. And tell us how we got to that stage, really.
How you got to that stage. Okay. Well, what was it? It was like 1-3. So if you remember the 1-3 director's commentary, it was going really slow. It was really painful. And I was doing a lot of daydreaming of Case 2, and I was like, dude, we got to get so much better by Case 2. It's got to look so good. And I had these visions in my head of like what it's going to look like, and I'm like, yeah, we're gonna get that. It's going to look really good. And then time is passing. We're working more on Case 2, and it's not panning out to that. And I'm getting anxious. I'm like, oh my god, dude, I can't let this up. It looks so good in my head, but it just doesn't look good on the screen. And I was really pushing just like any way to make the sprites better. Like November 2020, I was asking Pretty and her friend VChart to like sketch over Athena to see if they could do the new 2D sprites, since Gian was gone at that time, and it wasn't being worked on. There was no progress being worked on it. So just left and right trying to pick up everything, and it was really just kind of me for a bit. And then the lovely James, he showed me a website that had image sequences of some of the Spirit of Justice renders, and I was like, oh, people can work with the 3D models. That's kind of interesting. And so I was like, okay, let me do some research into how the process of acquiring and modifying these 3D models goes. Can I talk about the Team Turnabout thing, Aljavis?
Go ahead.
All right. We asked Team Turnabout for their models because we know they have them, and they said it was a bit too much to exchange, which is completely fair. So we did it ourselves. I found a CIA file of Spirit of Justice, broke it open, rummaged through everything, and assembled them. And it was just a 7-month-long process of figuring out what looked good, modifying stuff, making some things different. People have noticed that the faces are different for some poses, and I really appreciate that. Anyways, it's seriously a net gain in the visual aspect. It was very, very painful, because it was just me rendering them and putting them in Flash. And 3D renders were not meant to be put in Flash. That's such a horrible mess. I had to do Athena twice. I don't think people know that. I had to do Athena twice.
We love the rigs in this series, don't we?
No.
We do. There's one person right now who isn't going to unmute himself to comment on it, who would also love to say how much he loves the rigs, especially a certain purple rig. But yeah, we do love the rigs, don't we?
Yeah. These 3D models. So, the first time,
and they ruined the series. Just awful.
The first time Soundman brought me the option to try out the 3D models, I was very against it at first, mainly because it's gonna look very uncanny with the 2D ponies. It's gonna look it's just gonna look very jarring from seeing the 2D ponies with the 3D models. But at the same time, the 2D sprites that we were using were already uncanny too. And so we're like, what do we do? And then I think Soundman found out that he looked at the textures, and then I think it was your idea or my idea, but whoever said it, but came to the conclusion that said, wait, can we retexture these? So I went on that and I tested something out, and I'm like, you can? And
you can?
You can.
I'm like, wait a minute. I could just like retexture them to make them look 2D. And I was like working on helping Soundman with Athena, and it was working. It was actually working, and I was so happy with how it was turning out. I mean, in the very beginning, it wasn't that great, but going forward, it was looking way better. And I know that not everyone enjoys the way the 3D models look, but honestly, if you're comparing it to the 2D sprites, the uncanniness between the retextured 3D models with the 2D pixeled sprites, I would say I would go for the 3D models. Plus,
I mean, it just looks cleaner given the art style.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
I would definitely say Apollo and Trucy look the best. Like Apollo and Trucy, like I would say like Trucy's the absolute best, and Apollo's a really close second. Like those especially look good. And of course, like I gotta thank Shannon for helping out with the retexturing.
Oh,
I definitely cannot do all four of the Ace Attorney characters myself. So
Well, you're very welcome. And for those in the chat, in case you're curious, I was solely responsible for Apollo and Phoenix, and partially Trucy.
And the
Yeah,
judge. You always forget
and
the
the
judge.
judge.
yeah, I was in charge of Athena and most of Trucy.
And
Gosh, dang you, Trucy, your hair!
Oh
Lots
yeah,
of-
her hair was a pain.
Lots of hard effort, hard work. I'd say lots of hard work and dedication that finally pulled through, and it shows. It shows. We now can actually pretend to be a legitimate series for once.
Yes. Let's talk about it more for 20 more minutes at least.
I'd love to, but I think there are some. I don't know unless anyone's got any other important notable areas that may have changed. I don't know, Shannon. Do you have anything else you'd like to add? You know, having done nearly everything, was there anything else about the production that caught your eye that you're quite happy to see changed or improved?
Well, firstly, I do not have a hand in the audio editing or writing for these episodes, so I'm not in everything.
I mean, not yet. Give it.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Give it a couple of weeks, and we'll probably be just relying on you for the entirety of this production. We can all go on holiday whilst you work on it. But what would you like to
You will not take my
Excuse me?
job.
Hey,
will not
you're the
take
one
my
who always
job.
says we should take a break. So let's take a
this
break.
is true.
You can.
We'll take a break and we'll leave it to you,
Gap.
Shannon.
I need to learn. I need to learn rigging right now and sound everything.
Okay.
But in all seriousness, no, I'm content. Content.
Well, as you say, lots of the 3D models, great change, and it's one of those lovely things that we can now look at and go, yeah, this is where the big change in quality is really starting to happen. We all said case 2 was going to be much better than case 1, and I think 2.3 has highlighted that in a small way. Not necessarily all of it, mind, but quite a lot of areas. All right, we're going to go into our second to last question, our penultimate question. Yeah, fancy word there.
That's a Cambridge word. You're so
I know.
erudite. You're so
I am erudite or erudite. Jarvy, speak for me, please.
Our penultimate question
Yes, thank you.
is what, Mr. G?
Our penultimate question, which is for everybody here, excluding those obviously who are not a part of the stream. Thoughts going into 2.4. What is everybody's thoughts now that we're, making progress? Because, by the way, we are making progress. We are making progress. What is everyone's thoughts?
Did Mr. G get
Hello?
What was that? Huh?
Please try again.
Oh my god!
Yes!
Oh dear.
Please try. Please.
I
think that sums up how we feel about 2-4.
Yeah. Goddess, if you want to just quickly resolve what's going on.
Please. Yes.
I'll whilst Goddess resolves the technical issue going on her end, anyone else would like to comment out here. And if anyone mentions, and I swear to God, if anyone says something went wrong, please try again. You are getting kicked from this. So.
What was even your question? I wasn't even listening to your lips.
My question.
I didn't hear
my
either.
question was thoughts going into 2-4. What is everybody's thoughts going into 2-4?
Ecstatic. I am so excited. I am so excited.
We've got Soundman crying and TheAljavis being positive. Let's go with you, Al.
Wait, but I don't know if Al's being serious though. That's what I'm confused.
What do you mean? I'm legitimately excited
so
for 2-4.
I'm jaded. I'm sorry.
Are you sure about that, Al? Are you really sure about that? No,
Yeah,
but seriously, Al, what are you looking forward to most then? What's going to be the thing that you're really looking forward to?
Tell us that.
I
That's
can't
a spoiler.
tell you.
I know you can't, but maybe just generally speaking, is it going to be the writing? Is it going to be the editing? Just generally, what's it going to be?
First off, I'm excited. I'm happy because 2-3 is over. So I consider 2-3 as like the dark ages of production, and 2-4 is going to be the first steps to the Renaissance. So, because like there are already like a good amount of like upgrades just from 2-3 to 2-4, and oh my god, I am so excited. Like my mentality is like way up in this production, and there is something I am gonna do once I'm done with the stills for the next episode. But you're gonna have to wait until 2-4 comes out, and Shannon's gonna help me out with it. So, we're excited for that.
Soundman, your ever enlightening and soul lifting pessimism. If is there anything you're looking forward to that obviously you can say?
The end. I'm looking forward to the end.
Well, have you made sure that you've packed up on diamond armor and food, and you've brought a bed with you?
That's an awful joke.
It's a terrible joke. It was going to be made. It was going to be made. You didn't give me much.
No, it wasn't. You made the joke.
You never give me enough. You never give me enough material to work with in the first place, Sam.
Okay. Comedy stand-up routine between you and me over whatever the dumbass question was. Say it again. What's your dumbass question?
I'm not going to repeat it for you, Soundman. You've lost your privilege. Shannon.
Hey, fuck you. Fuck you, buddy.
Shannon.
Wow.
What are you looking forward to, oh, Princess Shannon?
Excuse me. It's just Shannon. Goddess, not princess, just Shannon. But anyways, to
Goddess
answer
is
your
right
question, well, more of my handiwork is going to be showcased, so I'm very eager to see how people are going to react to that. And goodness gracious, my voice.
Your voice. What? Your voice? You're looking forward to people hearing your voice? I think they've already heard that.
Well, let's just say I kind of went quiet for a good day just for the sake of this next episode.
You really did.
No.
You literally got all of your lines in at day 0.
It's true.
0.
It's true. It's remarkable.
Get on my level, voice actors.
in all fairness to Goddess, she does have a lot more to say. Jarvy, obviously, most of your work for 2-4 can pretty much be summed up as already done. So how do you feel? Are you looking forward to seeing how everyone now puts it all into practice and bring it all together?
Yes. If 2-3 represented the turn for many of the writers, 2-4 was my personal turn as one of the writers. I can't say more, obviously, because spoilers. I will say this. There's some key moments in 2-4 that I am especially proud of writing and rendering. Thing that I think will get to people in a way that got to me. And I've always held the belief that when you write something and you yourself feel what you are trying to convey, then the writing works. And there are several moments in 2-4 that I think people will seriously enjoy, if not experience a great amount of cathartic relief for. In fact, in 2-2, there's a certain scene which we have affectionately referred to as the balcony.
Oh, yeah.
In 2-4, there is a scene which I think will be my balcony.
Ooh.
And I am excited to see how people feel about that one.
Ooh. Well, that will be something to look forward to, everybody, then. And Goddess, let's hope this works. Goddess, are you working? Are you all good, Goddess?
Oh, maybe.
Oh dear.
Yes.
Right. Without something going wrong, and for the need for us to try again, I assume you're looking forward to, of course, how
Yes.
the next part in the trial. Yes.
Yes, I am, and I've got to go mute. I've got to go mute at the moment, but I am excited. I am so excited.
Right. Well, thank you very much, Goddess. And yes, so now obviously we're going to get to the last question. I said we were on the penultimate question, so the last question again for everyone in the team who is here on this lovely live stream. There's been a bit of a question that's been sort of bumming around the team for a while that I feel like I need an answer to. So, quick question: how does everybody make pizza? Can someone tell me how to make pizza?
You son of a bitch! You dare bring this up?
How do we cook pizza, people?
No, we're not answering that. I refuse. I am not. Listen,
Microwave.
there's been enough problems.
Microwave.
Hey, get out of here.
Get out of here.
I ain't answering that. No.
I'll answer.
No. How dare you?
Go on, please, Soundman. Tell us, how do we cook pizza?
So, with your greasy slice of Meat Lover's pizza that you killed 3 animals to make, you slide it in the toaster, and the grease catches fire, and it gets hot, but it dries out. So you got to make sure it's in water while it's still cooking, because that's how you get the hydration process. I put it in the toaster and I put it in the sink while it's still on, and it just gives me such a rush.
Just no. Okay,
Oh, it gives me a rush too.
Yeah,
I'm feeling a rush right now.
I regret asking this question now, actually. Congratulations, you're making me regret everything. Right. Well, we've been live now for just over an hour, so I think this is a great time to wrap it up. And I suppose I'll just go around each and every one of you with any final thoughts you want to say about 2-3 now that this is the end of our discussion related to it. Any last words anyone wants to say? Any profound statements that they want to make?
Fuck 2-3.
Fuck 2-3.
Fuck 2-3.
Well, as always, I suppose it's tradition, since this is a live stream and this is also a post show and it's everything else in between. I believe we have only one last thing that we need to do. So, Al, I will leave it to you to begin that necessary countdown.
Oh yeah,
There's only 5 of us
gonna
here.
do this. Totally.
We're going to try and do this with 6 people, and whether or not this will work well is dependent on how well we chat.
Great.
Yeah.
All right, let us know when you're ready, Al. In the meantime, everybody else, thank you very much for tuning into this wonderful 2-3 post show. Something went wrong. We did try again. I think we got there eventually.
Please try again.
Please try again. Please try again. We'll see you at least on the next post show.
All right.
Al, were you ready to rumble?
Yeah, sure. All right.
Oh, that doesn't sound
everyone headphone warning.
Oh no.
Okay, oh, by the way, I want to say one more thing. Expect expect an update. Just saying.
Oh yes,
Expect
that's a good point. Actually,
an update.
an update. Ooh, on you, Al.
All right, here we go. All right, here we go. Ready?
Ready.
3, 2, 1. Objection! Objection!
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Did it work?
Just end the stream.
Okay.